Greetings and konnichiwa, and welcome to the Onyx Tavern. I'm your host, Rick the Barkeep, bringing you episode 153 here at the tavern, presented by Hirotaku.com. There's an episode of Justice League Unlimited called Patriot Act, and in that episode, Amanda Waller is having a conversation with General Eiling. And in that conversation, Amanda Waller says this to him: Our enemies are never as evil as we imagine, and maybe we're never quite as good. Now, despite being half a world away, every day I'm inundated and bombarded with election coverage news for the 2016 presidential election. Everywhere I go, it's on my Facebook, it's on my Twitter, it's on Yahoo, it's in my email, and it's on YouTube. Everywhere I go, I can't escape it. It's like pop-up ads, it's like damn Walking Dead stuff that I just don't want to go ahead and read. But the point is, I'm seeing it every day, and I'm trying to be a good citizen by staying up to date on the facts, figuring out what the candidates stand for, to eventually vote. I'm going to fill out my absentee ballot, send it in. I'm definitely going to vote in this year's election. And I don't mind getting election coverage news. There's nothing wrong with that, and figure out what the candidates have to say. But damn, am I tired of the bullshit from the Republican Party. I am just tired of everything that Ted Cruz and Donald Trump are saying. From whether it's punishing women for having abortions, by cutting the rights of trans people, to basically everything that's going on with the Muslims. And that's what's really bothering me. Because every other day, it's that people are saying we need to patrol Muslim neighborhoods, that we need to kick Muslims out of the country, that we need to, check people's religion and all that, and we gotta go bomb this country and bomb that country. I'm just sick of the bullshit. This dangerous rhetoric that the Republican Party is putting out there. And you guys know I do put my political beliefs in there every now and then, and this video is going to be really politically charged for a lot of you guys out there. And if you don't agree with me, then fine. Don't agree with me. That's your right. Vote the way that you want. But I think that what Trump and Cruz and every Republican candidate's come before him that's dropped out of this election, I think what they're doing is inherently dangerous. Basically saying that this entire group of people is dangerous. It's dangerous to say that a group of people are dangerous because we're not. Let me just make something really clear before I get to my point. And yes, there is a point here, so just please bear with me. The problem is not Muslims. The problem is fundamental religious beliefs. Okay? That's religious fundamentalism. That is the main problem here, and that doesn't seem to be anything that anybody's willing to go ahead and talk about, and that people are really willing to go ahead and combat. That's my belief, and you can have your belief, that's fine as well. But here's the point I want to get into. The only thing that I can do as a citizen of the United States is I can go out there and I can vote for what I want. And I want to vote against this dangerous rhetoric. I want to vote against the people who are fear-mongering. I want to vote against that, and that's exactly what I'm going to go ahead and do come November, come Election Day with my ballot. That's what I choose to go ahead and do. And of course, that's as much as I can do because, well, frankly, I'm nobody. I'm just an American citizen. Yes, I have a YouTube channel, but I'm out here talking about Power Rangers every day. And of course, my voice doesn't carry sway to a lot of people out there. But there are people whose voices do matter, that do carry more sway. They get more attention. They get more people to listen to them. And that is Hollywood. You know, if you trace back the history of motion pictures to the earliest days, once we actually started getting feature films and we realized that we could use this medium to tell stories, people have been using it to tell stories, to, if you will, push their agenda. From the jingoistic practices of films like American Sniper to films like Planet of the Apes, where it talks about the HUAC hearings and the unfair treatment of American citizens. The very first feature film ever, Birth of a Nation with D.W. Griffith, he was pushing his beliefs about how he thought the KKK was so great. And when you get to films like The Dark Knight Rises and Captain America, Winter Soldier, excuse me, just The Dark Knight, not The Dark Knight Rises. When we get to those films, they talk about government intrusiveness and, the rights of the people and all that kind of stuff. these films are talking about something important, and they're putting it in a way that the American populace can go ahead and understand. And what I think needs to be done, and I know this is going to sound crazy, probably crazy on anything I've said up to this point in this video, I think Saban Brands needs to have a Muslim Power Ranger. I know that may sound weird for a couple of people, and I'm going to explain as best I can. But the reason I'm saying this is that Power Rangers have the unique ability to speak to people, particularly younger generations. And we always talk about positive role models in television shows. How, this superhero is a role model to me. Superman is a role model. Batman's a role model. The Power Rangers are role models. No matter how you want to look at it, they are viewed as role models from younger children. I know certainly when I was little, I looked at them as role models. I've said famously on a previous video of mine that I got a lot of my morals from the Power Rangers and Batman. Which you can look any way you want, but I mean, to me, I think it's made me a better person. But what I want to see Power Rangers do is take this platform to say something positive and say it in an overt way. You know, just as a quick aside, Mine Were from Power Rangers movie, if you actually dissect the film and look at what it's trying to go ahead and say, it's actually a film that talks about anti-consumerism, or at least anti-rapid consumerism. If you actually break down what Ooze is doing, what his plan is, how he's gathering the parents to jump to their deaths because of something that the children bought that he was pawning off on them. There's a great thing we can look into later when we talk about that symbolism. But basically, Power Rangers has done in the past, whether it's in the movies, or in the television show, where we've had these overt messages, whether it's, teamwork, environment, whatever, and stuff. But what I think Power Rangers can do now in the 21st century with social media and everything else is that they can create a character in the series who may be the embodiment of fears for some people in this country and turn him or her into a positive role model. That's what I think they should go ahead and do. We're coming, to the end of Dino Supercharged by the end of the year. We're going to get Ninja Steel. Apparently, there's casting information that's going to be coming out, or I think some that already has. But I think Power Rangers should take the opportunity of the environment that we are in now. And not just 2016, but 2017, 2018, because this isn't something that's going to go away anytime soon, especially if one of the Republican candidates is elected as president. This is not going to be anything that we're just going to have to, deal with now because it's an election cycle and then just kind of forget about no matter who becomes president. This is something that's going to be prevalent in our country for a while. And frankly, it's been prevalent since 9/11. That just keeping it real there. So I think Power Rangers needs to take a proactive stance on taking our enemy, or our supposed enemy, let's put it that way, our supposed enemy, and putting them in a positive light. In that, not every person who's Muslim is a terrorist. I know that sounds simplistic, and everybody's like, oh yeah, well that makes sense. But to a lot of people, they don't get that. And the problem is, those people who don't get it are telling their children that, and their children are never going to understand because of that. And right now, I want you to tell me, right now, don't Google it, don't look on your phone or anything. Right now, think to yourself, name one positive Muslim character in fiction. I can't think of one. I really can't. If we can't think of one, doesn't that sound like we need one? That we need to put one out there in a positive light. I mean, think about it this way, and again, I know you guys hate the Star Trek examples, but let's look at the original series in season 2. Which character did they introduce in the second season? Chekhov. Although some people say he was there in the first season, but that's a different thing. But Chekhov was introduced, and what was the big thing going on in 1960s America? The Cold War with the Soviets. So we have this ship, captained by James Kirk, all-American male from Iowa, no less. And on his ship, his security officer is a Russian, is a Soviet, a commie, a red, whatever you want to go ahead and call him. what was perceived as the enemy then was an ally and friend working on the bridge of the Enterprise. Now, I don't know how that really affected, American, Russian, Soviet relations or anything like that, but it's a microcosm of the idea that we can all get along and, we may be the enemies now, but we may not be forever, and we just need to understand each other. And I think this is a good opportunity, again, where we can take the Power Rangers and get a character who is Muslim to be in there to show positively, oh, this person is Muslim and they're a Power Ranger. Well, maybe I'm turned around on the subject, or maybe not all Muslims are bad. Whatever message you get from that, because I don't think anybody can take a Muslim person and put them in a Power Ranger costume and people say, oh, that's a terrorist Power Ranger. And those two words don't even go together, terrorist and Power Ranger. It just doesn't mesh. You know, it's taking two things, you know, taking a Power Ranger who's a positive role model superhero and taking what some people perceive as the enemy, combine them together, and maybe they don't see it in the same light. What I propose that they should do is they should get an actor or actress. You can make this male or female. And since we got Ninja Storm, we got two females, so we can do whatever we want. Uh, in that case, um, cast this person in a role. Make it clear that they are of the Muslim faith, that that's their religion. You don't have to preach about what it means to be Muslim, although, maybe clearing up certain things would help. But have this character show them in a positive light. Show them that, they're a normal individual, that they are noble, that they are brave and courageous, that they are worthy of being Power Rangers, but that they have flaws, that they could be petty, they could be greedy, they could be arrogant, they can't see past their own nose or something like that. You can have flaws built in the people. We have Riley shown in the Homer and Code episode that he has a flaw because he got carried away with the whole baseball thing, or Chase and his flaws and the problems he has with women, or even going all the way back to Tommy and his flaws of being forgetful. You can still have flaws in that person, but if you make them a Power Ranger and show, hey, this person is a Power Ranger, they're saving the world, and we're doing it in a positive way, then I think you can put a good message out there to people saying, for the ones that just don't get it, that hey, not all Muslims are bad. You know, a lot of people are going to say, hey, it's just a television show and all that, but maybe they're not going to be the target demographic. Maybe we need to show younger kids, hey, here's a Muslim and there's nothing wrong with them at all. They're our friends, they're our allies. What you don't need to be afraid of them. And I guess that's the main point, is showing we don't have to be afraid of Muslims. I mean, if we take Ninja Storm, yeah, not Ninja Storm, Ninja Steel the next season, assuming we're going to use the Sentai footage to its full extent, we can show, yeah, ancient demons from Japan, those are our enemies. But Muslims, they're our friends. They're our allies. They are here to go ahead and help us. And actually, just think about it right now. How great would it be if we actually got a female Muslim Power Ranger, made her the upcoming Pink Ranger or something, and she has to wear the hijab and all that. Because, of course, Muslim women are told they have to wear the hijab. I'm not exactly sure the rules for the men. Let me just also make it clear. I don't know really anything about Muslim people other than what I'm able to research online and what I actually researched in college. I've never met a Muslim person, or at least I don't think I have, because nobody's told me they're Muslim, and I've never asked what your religion is. That's something that just doesn't happen, of course. So I don't know all the exact details of it, but I know enough to know that they are not our enemy. ISIS is our enemy because they're religious fundamentalists, okay? So I at least know that part. But what I'm saying is, if it's the girl, have her wear the hijab and have her explain in an episode, I can't take this off because so and so and all that. Because how many stories have we heard about, Muslim women go into airports and tell them they have to take off their hijab and they can't go into a private room, and they say we can't do it because of a religious reason, and the TSA not listening to them or not caring. Where I think there was a woman, it was in Michigan, I think, I could be wrong on that, who was in a library and she was told to take her hijab off while she was in the library. I mean, that is ignorance right there. People who don't know any better or choose not to know any better. Now, when was the last time we had a movie that explained, or a television show, or a character explained what hijab is and why they can't take it off? I can't recall one, but maybe if we had in Power Rangers, we can at least have the children understand, the main demographic, as they say, and say, oh, I understand why they wear the hijab. They can't take it off because their religion demands it. We can at least have that conversation and open up a dialogue. That's what I'm getting at here, folks, is, we need to take all this dangerous talk and diffuse it in some fashion. And one of the best ways to do that historically is through mass media. I mean, why is Donald Trump on Twitter? Because that's where everybody is, and that's where he's going to get his dangerous message of hate out, is on Twitter. But where can we put the positive messages? We can put the positive messages on Twitter and so forth, but you can also put the positive messages in television shows and in movies. So again, how powerful would it be if our next Pink Ranger or our next Blue Ranger or heck, our next Red Ranger, the leader of the Power Rangers, was a Muslim character, and showing that, again, not all Muslims are terrorists. They can be good people, that they are just like you and me. They have flaws, but they have their virtues, and we can explain a little bit about their culture. Now, you can obviously say that's going to be a product of the times, most likely, again, the same way Chekhov is a product of the times, but I would still say that he endured. His character is still relevant, even though his character is kind of a joke, nuclear vessels and whatnot. Um, but I think the long-lasting effects that could have, if you can make a little white kid in, a Republican-dominated family, if you can make his favorite Power Ranger, the Red Ranger, who happens to be Muslim, his favorite, I think that could go a long way into helping relations between, well, just about everybody, because Muslims are Americans, just like you and me, assuming you live in America and you're listening to this. It's just, again, I know this has been a politically charged video and everything, but it just pisses me off that every day I'm told by people, hate this person, hate this person, hate this person. I don't hate like that, okay? I mean, I hate people who lie and cheat and steal and murder and all that kind of stuff. Let me decide who I want to go ahead and hate based on those reasons. But I don't hate a single person for what their religion is. And I don't hate a person because their religion has radicals in it who are doing damage across the world. If that was the case, then I would hate Christians because we have Christian terrorists in the United States. Yeah, we do. Look it up. But you can't judge everybody by entire religion, and that's not a message that we're getting out there. That's not a message that I am seeing in programming right now. I'm not seeing that in movies. I'm not seeing that in television. If it is there, it's very, very, very subtle. It's not overt. But sometimes to get your message through, you're gonna have to bash somebody on the head with your message for them to get it. All right. But I think if you just, I don't know how many Muslim actors there are in Hollywood, and I don't even know if there are, people who are pretending to be Muslim to get the roles, or whatever. Hollywood's funny. They'll cast a Vietnamese person play a Chinese person, cast a Japanese person play a Korean person, and cast a white person to play a black person. Yeah, things like that happen. The point I'm getting at is that I'm sure somewhere there's at least one Muslim actor that's decently good, that they could get in the Power Rangers and they could help convey this message. Now, I'm not going to say we should put everything on their shoulders about changing entire generations' views on Muslims overall. That's not my point, but the point is to educate them and at least show a positive Muslim influence in the media, particularly in a franchise like Power Rangers. Like, I wouldn't be a bit surprised when the next Star Trek season comes out, which is in 2017, that we may have a Muslim character on the bridge. I'd like to see that because Star Trek is just as influential as Power Rangers, if not more so. So could you imagine that? A Muslim character on Star Trek and a Muslim character on Power Rangers. And again, a Muslim Red Ranger leading the Ninja Steel Rangers into battle against evil and saying, hey, he's Muslim. We're all on the same side. We're all fighting evil together. We're working together. It's unity amongst the different races. Which I know that's one of the things Power Rangers is always preaching, because they always have a black person, they always have an Asian person, they always have somebody of a different ethnicity on the team. That's something that they do, okay? but I don't think they've ever done it to specifically get a message across. They've always done it for because hey, we need this actor, or maybe we need to fill a certain quota. We need to have at least one black character on there. But I think they should actively try to go find a Muslim to portray on Power Rangers. Don't make them a stereotype. Make them a positive role model, just like the rest of the Rangers, and see what that does. It can't hurt. It really can't hurt. I mean, are people going to stop watching Power Rangers because the Red Ranger is Muslim? Because the White Ranger is wearing a hijab? Are they really going to do that? I don't see anybody doing that. Because if they didn't stop watching after the violence and the resurrections from hell and all that kind of stuff, then I don't know when they're going to stop watching. um, but yeah, it's just, again, folks, it's just, I get so mad about all these dangerous things that people are saying, go out there, hurt people, disenfranchise them, take away their rights, don't let them in the country, make them less of a person because we are afraid of them. And I really hate that. I honestly do. I truly do. And I just don't get. I can't. My mind cannot wrap around it. I mean, it's like does not compute. Whatever. I just I don't get that. But the only thing that I know to do is to vote against that myself. But there are people who are more powerful than me, that are more influential than me, that have these options, and I think they should take advantage of them. They should listen and say, hey, that's probably a good idea. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's see if we can make that work. I just think it couldn't hurt. It really couldn't. I just want to be able to see. I want to be able to turn on Ninja Steel, see a Muslim character on there, see them getting along, and maybe run across a child or a fan one day that says, you know what? I watch Power Rangers, and my favorite character is what's his name? And I'm like, okay, he likes the Muslim character. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Nothing wrong with that at all. Will we get it? I don't know. I really don't know. But I think Power Rangers. Actually, not Power Rangers. Let me put it this way. Let me gather my thoughts back up. I think that the people in power do have a responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. That they have a responsibility to seek out the lies and extinguish them. To find those lies, bring the facts in, and tell the truth. And the truth is, the Muslims are not our enemies. They are our friends. We shouldn't fear them. We should fear religious fundamentalism. That's what we should go ahead and fear. And maybe the Power Rangers can speak to that, and they can help change the hearts and minds of people so that they understand that as well. May take a generation, may take even longer. But I know that my house, that my daughter, that Trini, will never grow up hating somebody because she's told to be afraid of them. I will never teach that to her or any other future children that I may have. And I will never teach that to the children that I have in my school. I may be teaching them English, but I do teach them other things. I do teach them things about life as best I can. And you will never hear me say anything like that. We live in a diverse world. We have so many different people. And if we are to unify, if it is to be the one earth that a lot of us dream about, we can't be afraid of other people's religions, and we can't hate them because they worship differently than us or don't worship at all. So I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm going to stop all this. If you stuck around for this, I'm very happy that you guys stuck around and listened to me ramble on. And, this is going to be something even more dangerous, but I really would like to see the comments, you guys. It's probably going to be a shitstorm. I don't care. I'd like to think that what I said is positive, and I am very curious on what the comments are going to be like. So, let's see. Let's see what happens. All right. But again, those are my thoughts. I implore you, please share with me what your thoughts are. And thank you for listening. honestly, thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. And I promise next time we'll have something a little less heavy to go ahead and discuss. Uh, and then again, if there's a Muslim Power Ranger out there one day, then gonna cheer it on, folks. I'll be the number one fan of whoever that Ranger is, because that Ranger will not only be fighting against evil in the fictional sense, but they will be fighting against evil and ignorance in the real world. And I think that's something that we all can agree upon. All right, so thank you guys for listening. Have a good evening, and the tavern is now closed.